You know those moments where everything you've built, everything you've told yourself was solid just unravels before your eyes? Where the weight of your lies, your mistakes, everything that seemed insignificant suddenly crashes down on you all at once? Yeah, that happened to me. I'm Emily, 32 years old, and I ruined my life over some stupid texts and fake playdates that were never about the kids. In hindsight, I don't even recognize the person I became. When I met Jeff, things were easy. He was the guy I thought I could build a life with. At first, everything was perfect. He was kind, had his act together, always dependable. He worked hard, provided for us, and we had this cozy little house with a garden. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable. We didn't need much. We had Chloe, our daughter, a little bundle of joy who became the center of everything. Jeff worked long hours, leaving me to take care of Chloe. We had our routine, our little family, and honestly, I was happy. For a while, it was all I ever wanted. But slowly, things started to shift. Jeff wasn't the same. What started as him being the perfect husband turned into him being distant, predictable. Always tired, always talking about work, bills, responsibilities. I wasn't blind to it. I saw the way he looked at me sometimes, like I was just another task to get through. The passion we used to have? Gone. I didn't know what to do with that emptiness, so I let it fester. We'd argue about everything. Stupid things. How he loaded the dishwasher wrong. Why we couldn't afford to go on a spontaneous trip like we used to. I would nag him for being so predictable, and he would tell me I was being reckless. But deep down, I knew I was the one to blame. I knew the insecurity inside me was spiraling, but I couldn't stop myself. I would dig through his phone when he was in the shower, looking for something that would explain why he was pulling away. Never found anything, but I still convinced myself that I needed to check. And then, if he asked who I was texting, I'd get defensive. Privacy. Trust. He'd always drop it. But then, there was Matt. Matt was my ex from high school. We had this history together, a tangled mess of emotions that I thought I had long buried. But when his name popped up on Facebook, I felt something rush, like a spark I hadn't felt in years. He looked different now, tough, rugged, like someone who had lived a life. I told myself I was just being friendly, but deep down, I knew what I was doing. It started innocently enough. Just a text. Just a, "Hey, how have you been?" I had no real reason to do it, but I wanted that thrill again. Matt had a son, close in age to Chloe, and I saw the perfect excuse playdates. It was harmless, right? I could see him, spend time with him without anyone suspecting a thing. I suggested it to Jeff. Matt has a son Chloe's age. I thought it would be nice for them to get together. You know, for playdates. Jeff was all for it. He thought it was a great idea. What started as something innocent quickly turned into something far more dangerous. I would get excited when Matt texted me when he would tell me he was coming over. I started planning everything around those moments. The house had to be perfect. My hair, my outfit, it all had to be just right. I started wearing clothes I knew Jeff wouldn't question, like my good jeans when I'd tell him I was going out with Matt and his kid. He'd ask, and I'd snap back, saying something about wanting to feel good, even as a mom. His face, the hurt in his eyes when I'd say things like that. It should have made me feel guilty, but instead, it just felt like another reason to push him away. And Matt? Every touch was electric. He'd put his hand on my back, accidentally brush against me, lean in close like it was normal. It sent a spark through me that I hadn't felt in years. The first time he kissed me, it was like everything clicked into place. I could be selfish. I could want more. For the first time in ages, I didn't feel like just someone's wife or mother. I was a woman again, wanted, desired, and the worst part, I didn't even care how wrong it was. It became a routine. When Jeff was at work, Matt and I would steal moments together. I started to lie. A lot. About everything. Texts that were from friends. Late-night phone calls. Dinners where I'd pretend I was with friends. But no one knew the truth. No one knew that I was being consumed by guilt and excitement all at once. It wasn't enough. I wanted more. I wanted out. Matt started suggesting I should leave Jeff, that I deserved better. He painted a picture of us together, a new life, no more secrets. I knew it wasn't the right thing to do, but the idea of escaping, of finally breaking free of everything that had become so suffocating, it was tempting. but I didn't know how far I would go to get that freedom. That day, the one I'll never forget, it started like any other. Jeff left early for work, and I sent the usual text to Matt. "Come over, he's at work." My heart raced. I was excited, like I had a secret I was finally getting to live out. But then, things went wrong. Jeff came home early. I hadn't expected it, but there he was, walking through the door at 2 p.m. when he was supposed to be gone until 6. My world fell apart in seconds. Matt was still here. In my house. In my bed. I tried to get Matt out of there. It wasn't quick enough. Jeff was already in the living room, his eyes narrowing with understanding, his face pale with shock. And then the yelling started. What happened next is something I can't shake. Jeff lunged at Matt, and the chaos was everything I feared. But Matt wasn't some pushover. He fought back. He shoved Jeff against the wall, sending a picture frame crashing to the floor. The sound echoed through the house like a bomb. And then I saw it. Chloe, standing in the doorway, eyes wide. She saw everything. Her little hands trembling. She was scared. I could see it in her face. The world she knew, my world, was crumbling. Matt left, without a word to me, and I was left with the wreckage. Jeff didn't yell at me, he didn't scream, he just asked, "How long?" And I couldn't even answer. I couldn't tell him the truth, not even to save myself. The silence after he left with Chloe was deafening. I couldn't breathe. And for the first time, I understood what I had done, what I had destroyed. The divorce came quickly. Jeff filed. He was done, and so was I. But what hurt the most? Seeing Chloe, seeing her grow up without the family she deserved, without the stability that had once been our life. It wasn't just about losing Jeff anymore. It was about what I had done to her. I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive myself. I don't know if I even want to. But the truth is, if I had the chance to go back, I might make the same mistakes again. Because the emptiness I felt was so much more unbearable than the consequences. And that is the scariest truth of all.